Hey, good morning, people. Welcome to another early watch being hosted by G Webs and co hosted. Thank you very much, sir.
But thanks for
Uh,
joining me.
and typical in early watch fashion, I got fucking nothing.
Yeah, whatever. We were just talking about that article from NRA.
Yes, and it's evidently not from the NRA.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I go through different sources of stuff each morning, so the got nothing doesn't mean that I don't do anything. It's just I didn't find anything interesting. Hang on, let me see if it's on. Anyway, it's
But I don't know where I
talking.
you were talking about the girl from Kent State who has a picture where
Yes,
she's like in like a girly dress with like her graduation
with
cap
the
or
AR
whatever.
slung over.
Yeah, and then an AR, a nice big black full length, I should say, AR. And then I guess it's because she got
And as
threatened. Like they
far
threatened.
as I know, it's an AR-10.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, but it's not a little carbine or anything small. It's a full size rifle. And then, from what I understand, is they were threatening to kick her out of school because she had started a petition for, I think it was open carry or something similar to open carry
Well,
firearms on campus.
in the reading of the article, it said that she said on that picture, which is supposedly on that hat, like I said, I couldn't read it, that now she could legally carry on the campus because she's not a student anymore.
Oh,
So,
that's what it is. The cat just says "come and take it" or something like that.
here it is. Story behind the viral swan.
Well, that's the other thing is she's going viral. Oh, I don't know. Did I break up
Post
or
a
is
link
Tony
in the
breaking
chat.
up?
Anybody that wants to go look at it. Basically, this girl chose to pose with her rifle for graduation photos on Sunday because it made for a stronger symbol, which I agree with. I don't necessarily agree with people doing the public display of long arms in any situation, but this particular one, the way she did it is good. I mean, she had the gun slung over her back. Uh, where the hell's the damn picture? Yeah, it was slung over her back, muzzle down.
You got a link to it somewhere?
Do what?
You have a link to that picture somewhere?
Yeah, I posted it in the early watch chat.
Oh, yeah.
And
We're
basically,
broadcasting live over on Gun Channels, and that's where the link is. And there's the picture.
she said, now that, or the caption on the photo read, now that I graduated from Kent State, I can finally arm myself on campus. I should have been able to do so as a student, especially since 4 unarmed students were shot and killed by the government on this campus.
Oh,
Now,
right on. Kent State. I didn't even put two and two together. Yeah.
oh yeah,
So the
I
same
don't,
people that are going to suggest that students shouldn't be armed are the same people that are going to shake their fist, rightfully so, at a federal bureaucracy that shoots students in protest that are exercising the first.
if she wants to get married, she can call me because she said if the government, she
I don't
believes
know
that
if
if the
Tony's
government
breaking
has,
up or if I'm breaking up. So let us know out there if it's Tony or if it's me. You hear me, Tony?
uh, you in and out, but yeah, it very well could be me because this fucking phone.
I got a lot going on in this machine, so it could be either one of
She
us.
said, she said, I believe that if the government has it, we should have it. Machine guns, any weaponry. Tweety, I love you. Uh, or at least I love your train of thought. If I ever bought a so-called machine gun, it would be a Gatling gun.
By that kind of
or
money.
or a GE 134. I just want a gun that says I'm here to fuck up your day. And the only thing, big revolver does that okay, but not like a Gatling gun. I hope my dad's got $1 billion worth of life insurance and doesn't manage to outlive me. I may have a Gatling gun. I know that's an awful thing to say, and it's a joke. So before anybody gets pissed, my wife ain't got enough insurance to buy me a Gatling gun and pay off this house, so that's not good enough. I tried to get her up her insurance. She didn't want to. She says, the last line of the article, she says, I would never carry an AR-10 for self-defense on campus. But there are so many people who aren't getting it. It's just a photo shoot. Yeah. They get it. They just choose to ignore it.
Yeah, the same people that saw that art project go in with the uh, coin-operated rifle vending machines in Chicago. Did you see that art exhibit?
No, I did not.
Didn't last very long. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
It's coming up here eventually. So this was an art display in Chicago meant to, I think, emulate like bicycle, like you drop, or what are those things called? What? I thought it was supposed to be big. The kind of thing that might duplicate or look like one of those bicycles or like a cart or something, like a shopping cart where you put in a quarter and you can get the shopping cart.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Unfortunately,
the big uproar. People didn't understand it, and it got taken down in one day because the guy didn't fill out the forms right. They say.
well, those are illegal in Chicago. So
Yeah, I don't really know what the point was.
That it's ridiculously easy to get guns.
I guess so, or that the guns are being supplied by the state. Realistically, that they're just or they're there for people who can afford them, or like you would store guns with magazines in them in Chicago. I don't know.
Knowing what I know about the liberal people in this state, I'm sure that it's a shot at the ease of availability of guns. When the gun of choice in Chicago and with all the murders and whatnot that they have going on, it's not an AR at this point, but they are turning up ARs and AKs, which bothers me because that sort of gives them a foothold on their talking points. That's the one downside of those things getting. You have to refresh, Ozzy. But that's the one thing about the just dirt cheap cost of ARs today is that it's going to make them easier to access for anybody, basically. I mean, they're not getting the damn things through legit pipelines anyway up there. But, you know,
There's nobody walking around with AR-15s criminal-wise, though.
There's been reports of gangbangers shooting other gangbangers with the AR and AK.
No.
I mean, you know, for typical gangland purposes, a long gun is not really the most practical choice because, for the most part, you want to hide the thing.
Right.
Little difficult to stick AK in your pocket.
Especially when it's hot.
Yeah, there is that.
Or to throw it somewhere. Or to just have it. Because 999% of the time, nobody's shooting nobody with nothing. And there's just a gun around. You know, so.
I don't know if it's 99.9 in South Side of Chicago.
I don't think so.
It may be. I mean, seriously. They have 13
Incidents.
shit. I lost. They had. Well, I can't remember what the hell it is now. I was thinking it was 13,000 incidents of gunshot, not murder. I mean, gunshots that are quote unquote gangland stuff. But I honestly don't remember where the hell I got that figure. I may just be pulling it out of my ass.
You know about that website, Hey Jackass or something like that?
I've heard of it.
That's one of the places to get data on Illinois, Chicago. Maybe it's Chicago specific, but basically it's going to be Illinois crime statistics. I think it's Hey Jackass.
But the south side of Chicago in itself is uncharacteristically high. But that's per capita crap. And
It's one of my favorite things about the internet is that this site exists. I don't even know what it. You've seen it before or no?
yeah, I have.
I don't know where it comes from or what. It's there's no ads on it. You don't see any ads anywhere. Oh, excuse me, one ad right there. Yep, that's the only ad. Nothing deceptive up here that looks like an ad. It's all just good, relevant info. This is probably an ad. And, you know, it's a little bit of humor in there. It's a little bit of like makes you think. And then good, accurate info. And just, oh, man, it is just such a well-built site. I like it.
Mike out in chat, or Ozzy, out in chat saying he's getting yesterday's show.
Oh, didn't I post it? I'm watching now. Copy. Go to early watch. Oh, yeah, look at that. We're blaming this on Jimmy. Jimmy's lazy. There you go. I'm good to go.
Yes, now refresh and you should be good to go.
We cleaned up after Jimmy and his laziness. So let's see, May to date, year to date, 147 people shot and killed. 755 people shot and wounded. So 900 people have been shot in Chicago, and it's May, middle of May. So anyway, rifles. I wonder if they break it down with rifles. Deadliest hoods, shot placement. And you can see where, look at those numbers. Austin, Garfield Park, and then, well, I shouldn't say that. There's numbers all over the place. There's a lot of numbers in Chicago. Those are the red things, I guess.
Yeah.
Police involved, self-defense, 12 people in. Huh. So in self-defense, you had 5, 12, 12, and 2 over the years. Cause of death, gunshot, 82%. Stabbing, 11. Trauma, 3.4. Strangulation, all the other stuff. Race and victim. It's interesting. So, victim and assailant. Oh, I see. So the victim was out of those. Oh, this is this year. So this is out of the 190. Oh no, this is the shot. 147.
No, I ain't seeing anything where they separate the type of weapon used.
Not yet. "43 people have been shot in the butt."
Yeah, I seen that they had a list on here for shot in the junk.
Yeah, shot in the junk, 10. Shot themselves, 16. Holy moly. That's a lot of stuff in here, but it doesn't look like anything on rifleman versus pistol. I'm guessing most of it's pistol.
I don't even think you have to guess it. I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah. Illustrating Chicago values.
Which really makes you question the other side's train of thought. You know, they're going after probably one of the least used weapons in crime.
Well, with the AR-15, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's. I mean, that's well thought out. That's because it's got a few people who support it. They think, and it looks super scary. I mean, it's the perfect poster board gun for "Look, get scared of this gun" campaigns. Okay, can you believe that they're going to tell you that they need to own this gun? So I don't know if you're down. I'm down for playing it again because I don't care if we get copyrighted, really. And there was some excellent points this guy made in a talk that I was telling you about off air, and that was one of his points, really. And he's on my list. He's on my thing here that I'm working on. Want to know about him?
I'm down for it. It's your damn channel that gets struck, not mine.
He's this guy right here, and he's a liberal, self-proclaimed liberal who is pro-gun, and he's one of the guys that's instigated the October 77 October revolt for the NRA by being one of the first people in modern times to consider the Second Amendment for self-defense as opposed to anything else. And there's like a link that I've got there that it's like is it a 20-minute speech? And there's all kinds of good points, but we could probably hit a couple of more if you want. We can do like we did with Nuance Bro and chop it up into some pieces and kind of dig into them, you know, a couple of times. We could probably
whatever you want to do, man. I'm along for the ride at this point.
right on. We could also go back to Nuance Bro at some point too and dig into more of those interviews. Some of those are tough to watch, but really interesting.
I'm going to start throwing this particular thing out right now, and that's all you pro-gun people out there. You need to get everybody you can off their asses to vote this fall, or we may well be in serious fucking trouble.
Yeah, definitely. This would be a interesting one, I think, because so many people are going to go, "Oh, we're good." There's nothing gone on there. And this is going to be one of those times when they're going to sneak a bunch of people in. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, that would be a whole nother discussion maybe on how Trump's doing as far as Republicans getting into office in the midterms. But honestly, I can't imagine, unless I'm missing something. I do listen to conservative shit more than I listen to other. But he's got to be doing pretty good, right? And is there anybody really bitching other than the people who are going to bitch if he handed out $20 bills? Somebody bitch about that, right?
Yeah, I think so. But if the tides turn in the Senate and House, where he can't do nothing for the next 2 years, then he's not going to be president again.
I guess I don't disagree, but why? What would be the fear of that happening if he's doing good? Then all there is the people holding their breath who are upset because it's not Hillary. But all those people in the middle are going to be like, guess Trump did it. Why would they vote anything else than make this keep going?
But what I'm getting at is if the balance of power in the Congress shifts, Trump won't be able to get anything accomplished.
No, I hear you, but I'm saying why would the power shift if the way Trump's going right now, everybody's super happy. There's no like massive push against Trump. There's just kind of always going to be there, echo of like, we hate Trump, but there's no big effort to get rid of Trump that I'm aware of. Other than what would always be there, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying it's not everybody's like, oh, this guy was the worst failure ever. Can't wait for the midterms.
I think the biggest thing I'm trying to circumvent is the apathy on our part.
Oh no, yeah, and that's where I'm thinking I think we're both on the same boat there, because even though I think that he's not in any danger of losing his effectiveness, that would make even more apathy, honestly. If there was a stalemate, at least people would get up off their butt and be like, we're pissed. But if a bunch of Republicans stay there, then nothing, everybody's going to go back to business as usual and figuring out what ski boots they're going to buy for Christmas or whatever. And gun manufacturers will continue to go out of business.
I think if he gets this deal done with North Korea, things are going to be fairly steady for a while.
Yeah.
But you never know about the fucking people in this country. So that's why I want to.
And there can always be some kind of crazy last minute curveball that all of a sudden, he pooped on a freaking lawn one time and dogs seen him. That's just, that's disrespectful.
Well, they certainly don't seem to have any problem with being disrespectful to President Trump.
No, I'm saying that, something comes up that everybody just agrees, like, oh, yeah, we need him out. Like, I guess that's possible. But
now for some really good news. Christian County in Illinois has become the 13th sanctuary county in the state. Excellent.
Right on.
We need about 90 others. Well, no, because that's more than we got. We need about 80 others. I don't think there's a feasible way we get more than 60, but that's anything that's over 50% would look good. Yeah, Mike's saying out there in the chat, all this in just 2 months.
You're talking about the Illinois county doing their thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I remember whenever we first started doing these on the regular, there was a county in someplace else, New Hampshire. I thought there was some other one mimicking
Washington or Oregon. It was in Northwest.
Oh, good. That's even better news because those people have been succumbing to the creep for a while. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad you guys are inspiring others. And that was back when you only had like 5 counties, 8 counties ago.
Yeah, this would be an interesting snowball if it went nationwide.
Well, we got Early Watch Nation listening, right? So this is an ideal opportunity, situation, whatever you want to call it, to exercise some infographic type of skills, because that would be an interesting infographic to maybe show how they do with the states. So take the
Uh,
state of Illinois, put the counties, and then show how they're went from 1 to 5 to whatever the progression was to now at 13. And
Anybody who's interested in doing this in their own state and would like to have a copy of the first Illinois county's resolution, email me at earlywatchil@gmail.com, and I will gladly send you a copy of, I think it's Effingham County's resolution, and you can present that to your own county. You can modify it to take the county names and whatnot out of it and then names of people, but I will be happy to send you that if you just contact me.
I would be happy to pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Hell, I would do that.
Do you
I'd
remember
even
that?
pay. Oh yes, Wimpy.
I think I got it right. When you said that, like,
Right.
I was like, oh, that sounds. All right,
I would
so
say, I'd pay you tomorrow because tomorrow never gets here.
oh, there you go.
I used to have a T-shirt that says tomorrow or yesterday is a or today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. I don't know where the hell I got it. I got it when I was in school, so the city of Dallas has just become a sanctuary city for guns.
Right on.
Oregon. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, and Illinois is back to trying to push that fucking gun store amendment again that's been vetoed many times, and they don't have enough to override it. And they're wanting to put in a fucking 10-day wait for picking up guns, which I don't want the 3-day wait for a handgun, or I don't want the 1-day wait for a long gun.
Well, the fact that, again, that you've got somebody suggesting that there should be a 10-day wait when you already have a 3-day wait should not go on focused on, right? That's something where if they're going to say, no, the slippery slope, blah, 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 I'm going to dismiss your objection to the slippery slope. Well, that's what yet another instance of the slippery slope being justified, or the concern about the slippery slope being justified, right?
I did write my representative here, Butler, and he's pro-gun. So, he's open to ideas to discuss. And I wrote him and I said, look, so why do we have a 3-day wait, especially on people that already own a handgun or long gun? I mean, if they're, this is quote unquote a cooling off period, but that really doesn't make any kind of sense whatsoever to somebody who owns a gun. Because if they were pissed off enough to kill somebody, they wouldn't go buy a gun to do it. Not from a gun store. And he wrote me a letter back thanking me for the idea. And I don't know where it went from there. But I mean, the waiting periods just do not make fucking sense. And basically, what it comes down to is the fact that our state processes the background checks, not the feds.
Well, in addition to the feds. So
Right. Yeah, the state actually does the call to the feds and then back. And we don't have enough fucking people here to keep up, so they need the day. And shit, last half a dozen guns I bought was 3-day wait, but even the long guns, but that was because I ordered them. You know, because I ordered that Walther, the Vaquero, and that 1895 Marlin, and I paid cash for them right there when I ordered them. And then they didn't come in until 3 days later. I honestly didn't think I was going to see that 1895 at all, because the gun store dude was saying, you know, I'm supposed to be getting one here Monday. Remington ain't been very good at keeping the Marlin line going. But I think all these cowboy guns are made at the custom shop. But he did get it, and I got it. There was 10 people on a list to call when it came in. 10 people wanted to look at it. And I said, I don't need to look at it. I'll pay for some bitch right now. He said, then it'll be yours when he gets here. But, you know, that's a rare case for me to buy a gun that I haven't handled first. But, you know, I knew what it was going to be. Same with the Vaquero. Hell, I already had one, so I knew what I was getting. And then, you know, the third gun of that group, the Walther, turned out to be a gun that I really disliked. And my wife couldn't use it. And crap. Down to get, and I go back on that a little bit. The gun actually is all right. It felt good in the hand, and it was accurate. For a shorter barrel than 4 inches, I was impressed with how good it was. But I honestly didn't want the gun. My wife could not use it. I really don't keep guns that I don't have a use for, with very rare exceptions. Because I viewed the guns, I never actually thought about it as viewing them as tools, but that's what it is. You know, they have a friggin' purpose here. You know, these Heritage Rough Riders, I bought them. Actually, I was going to give one to my dad, but I bought them for the grandkids to shoot. To start them in on handguns, I bought, you know, I've got a couple of rimfire semi-autos too, so I don't think I have anything here that I haven't got a specific purpose for anymore. My 223 I bought for some varmint hunting and also to start the kids on centerfire. Shit, did I get booted?
Oh, I'm muted. I don't think so. I'm still here.
I can't tell. When I get booted, it doesn't. If I'm watching the chat, the early watch page itself, I don't know that I get booted. I suppose that having the two semi-auto 30-06s could be construed as having one that I have no use for, but I figured one as a last-ditch defense rifle, and it's set up just open sights, no frills whatsoever. And then the other one's got a 10. What the hell is a 2x10x50 varmint scope on it? And I have yet to shoot that damn gun. every time I even think about it, I have to go get some sort of fucking medical procedure done that makes me not want to carry it.
Well, it's something
I'm
to look
honest,
forward to.
I'm honestly considering getting away from 30-06 altogether and replacing all that with 44 Magnum. If I find one of the Ruger 1044s or whatever the hell the model of son of a bitch is, and I manage to buy it, then that'll probably be the end of me in 30-06. This is too fucking much for in town.
You can hunt with that there?
I can hunt varmints, yeah. Not deer or anything big, but I'd go out and shoot ground squirrels all fucking day with 30-06. Actually, coyotes are the ones that it's aimed at, but yeah, you can hunt with centerfire rifle and some stuff, which is another stupid fucking law. You know, give us fucking pistol caliber rifles, at least. I have a 44 Magnum rifle here. I would love to use that for deer hunting.
What 44 Magnum rifle do you have?
94 Marlin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if you'd got to the range half hour earlier, I'd let shot all of them.
Well, I must have got there after you had packed up because I don't even think you were carrying anything.
My lady carried it all. I'm serious. She did because I couldn't. I think I might have carried the long guns. I believe I only took the two with me, 94 and 95. Nice try, got you both of them. I think he was a little intimidated by that 4570, but you know, I had cowboy action loads, so it wasn't all that thumping, you know, pretty tame. I really think the long barrel makes the fucker kick more. Bullet spends longer time in its path of getting out of the gun, and all this time it's pushing backwards.
Guess so.
I don't know. It's the first time in a long time I've ever had a gun like set me on my ass. I mean, that Savage 30-06 that I had, the ultralight hunter, was bad. I mean, it freaking hurt to shoot. And it never popped me like that. Of course, I didn't shoot it free-handed much either. I can send my 30-06 to Clay. Dude, $700, you can have both of them. Actually, I wouldn't want to get rid of the 740 just because it was, or 742 because it was the same year I am.
1742?
No. 1961. My 740s from 1955. And it can stand refinishing. I mean, it's appears to have been used. But mechanically, it seems perfect. And 742, I don't know. You know, it looks a lot better, but I've not had it out shoot it, see what it does. I will say that that older one, the 740, is as accurate as I am. Freehanded at 100 yards, it would do under 3. And I felt that was pretty damn good for freehanding it. But I really like the sights on it. What do we got here? Patriot just posted a link. Police arrest teen, seized gun after Bay City High School put in secure mode. Before I get into this, we had a school shooting here sometime in the past day or two in Dixon, Illinois, where the resource officer intervened and shot the dude before he did any harm to anybody. This guy's now a hero.
I don't remember hearing about that one.
It may have just happened yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Bay City. A teenager is in police custody a day after Bay City Central High School was placed in secure mode when someone was spotted with a gun in the area. In the area. Man, I was just at my school with a gun in the area. That's a little vague. Anyway, let's see what we got here. 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. May 14th, they located the 15-year-old male at a relative's house in Hampton Township. Arrested him on a probation violation. Ooh. Plot thickens. Officers are seeking a charge of carrying a concealed weapon in a school zone. Oh, you don't say. I don't know, man. I don't like the fact that I have to have a permit to carry a gun here in Illinois, but I can carry it in the school parking lot. So we got a lot more freedom in our concealed carry laws than some other states that I see on the second go round. I mean, this is amended that way, but before classes started on Monday morning, the teen showed a handgun to a fellow Central student on school grounds, but was outside a building. When school officials learned of this, so basically the kid brought a gun to school and showed it to a friend, and they locked the school down. He got arrested. They certainly make it sound more heinous in the title of this article. It may have been.
Well, it's their goal to get you to click on it, and then it sounds like the kind of reaction you'd expect. There's no way a kid's going to claim like, "Oh, I didn't realize that this wasn't a thing to do. I didn't realize this was against the law."
No, I'm not denying that the kid guilty of breaking the law and probably knew better. But I mean, I don't know that the kid was intending to shoot anybody. Ozzy out there's asking, did you get the holster he sent? And if you want to start playing that, go ahead. Maybe we won't get interrupted.
I walked away for a second there.
Yeah, Ozzy's asking if you got the holster he sent.
I did. Thanks. Pretty cool.
I'm still curious where the hell the bolt went out of this Marlin.
So I've been working on this project here, and one of the people we found last night, we're trying to find Second Amendment advocates, and we found this lady. And I'm putting them over here on the Minuteman University project. And if we scroll down to hers, we get this cool video. And it's like a 45-something minute video. Or no, her part of it is 45 minutes.
The Second Amendment has been very much in danger of being...
Actually, no, that's her, but we're actually just thinking about the dude. So if you want to find it, it's under Resources, Gun Rights Lobby, and then two-way authors. And we're going to go down to this guy who is Don Cates, and he's credited with being one of the first to, in modern times, interpret the Second Amendment as an individual right. So there's this video from, when is this from? It'll eventually show up here. Posted in 2013 from a talk in 1989 about his paper or whatever it's called from 1984. And he's a self-proclaimed liberal who is pro-gun. And he's got some really valid points here. Can you hear it okay?
So if I begin to...
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to fast forward to a part towards the end. There's lots of good stuff in here. It's about a half an hour long. We got the link there on Minuteman University.
You're going to resist without a gun. Your chance of being injured, intersexes, they don't have much respect for them in any other context. But the only people who should have guns are the police.
I'm just going to start it here. We can all catch up with what the subjects are.
But everything else is disorderly. My girlfriend recently saw a TV program in which
I'll pause it for just a second. Somewhere in the beginning of all this, he had talked about the concept that a conservative versus a liberal today have had different meanings back in the day. And he talked about the concept of someone who is a liberal or a big state, and that one way to think of them as somebody who strives for order and who is has issues when there's a lack of order. And he's kind of touched on that concept a couple of times in this talk, and that's what he's referring to here when he talks about order.
It strikes me that big government would be way more disorganized than small.
Well, that would be a whole nother topic, but I was just kind of putting it because he starts talking about order here, and what he's really talking about is the liberal mindset or the big state mindset, whatever you want to call it, like the statist mindset.
School children now being trained to deal with the assault rifle problem. At a signal from the principal's office, the teacher will signal the children, and the children will all get under their desks. My girlfriend's frustrated with this. If somebody walks into a classroom with an assault rifle, it'll be real orderly. All he has to do is shoot all the children who will be sitting under their desks, unable to escape, rather than the disorderly thing of having children run in all directions, which makes it much harder to shoot them, but it is so much more disorderly. I mean, after all, what are we concerned with in this society? merely saving lives or having an orderly society in which the best and the brightest provide moral instruction and welfare to a passive population of what we might reasonably call the masses, who are able to benefit from this moral instruction by these higher sets of people such as Pete Shields and Ramsey Clark and Gary Wills. It is because they have this profound conviction that the individual use of force is wrong that pseudo-liberals have come up with such preposterously non-empirical pragmatic arguments. For instance, we all know that it's absurd to talk about an armed populace defeating a military force. I mean, after all, think of all these stupid people with their stupid handguns running out and shooting at tanks and then throwing themselves with their handguns right under a tank rolling over. Yes, if you assume that everybody is stupid, that certainly is a really stupid proposition. But if, instead, you assume that ordinary Americans have as much intelligence as Jews in Israel, and the Irish in Ireland, the Angolans in Angola, and the Iranians in Iran, the Cubans in Cuba, and I can keep on listing for about 15 minutes, all the peoples in the 20th century who have had revolutions and not just fought modern military powers to a standstill, but totally destroyed and overthrown them. It is virtually impossible to name a guerrilla war in the 20th century that a modern military power won. And the only thing which we have when liberals talk about how useless and absurd the right to keep and bear arms is compared to the power of our modern military, well, they'll talk about World War II and tanks. But what the f*** that's got to do with anything? The American people are not about to declare war on government. What we're dealing with here is a question of guerrilla warfare, and guerrilla warfare virtually always wins. Among other reasons it virtually always wins is because the army is part of the people too, and sooner or later, the army decides it's sick of having this kind of a fight and goes over to the people, or substantial portions of the army does that. But of course, to the pseudo-liberals, the idea of the army doing something so disorderly is something else that's anathema. All right, I've tossed out a bunch of ideas.
So this is just one little kernel of stuff that he talked about in this, and a lot of the pieces are just as interesting. So through the link out there.
That's something that I'm going to listen to as soon as we get done here, because there was a couple of things he said that were spine tingling.
Yeah. Well, as I'm digging, finding other stuff like that one I almost showed from that lady, hers was 45 minutes. She's a scholar of England, and they talked a lot of, and her talk was about where our Second Amendment comes from, and that's super interesting. So we'll talk about that in future shows too. But I like this concept that that he brings up in this last one about the guerrilla warfare, because we do get that one, or at least that concept of like, what are you going to do against a tank? Because that's what everybody will say, like, oh, tyranny, what are you going to do with your handgun against a tank? And I mean, obviously that wasn't verbatim on as a way to address that concern, but it definitely gives more what optimism for that response that there's some angle there that you can challenge them on. If nothing else, name a government that's been able to squelch uprising of the people.
No shit. That's and the tank thing. I would say I'm going to run up on some bitch after it's gone past me, get up on it, open the lid, and shoot my pistol down in it.
Well, yeah, that's also just them not understanding tactics. But yeah, exactly. What's a tank going to do? Roll down the middle of the street? They don't know what houses to just shoot, and we don't live under that kind of tyranny where they're just shooting up everything.
They also ain't taken into account that a fair amount of our military would oppose such orders.
Oh yeah,
You know, because these guys are people too, and they're not going to wantonly slaughter American citizens.
and their brothers and their neighbors, no chance.
And I don't know what the percentage of, but I would think that a fair percentage would come out of the Army more pro-gun than when they went in. Maybe
I
not
tell you
those
what,
who've seen
I came
combat.
out. I grew up with guns. That's interesting. I grew up with guns. I had a gun when I was born, and I had guns. I can't remember not having guns. I don't know what it's like to not have guns. And we had collections, so I don't know what it's like to have a couple of guns. I've never existed with just a couple of guns. So everybody I know, everybody in my family, all had guns. It was just a thing. But they all did other things. They all had chainsaws too. You know, they all ran businesses and stuff. They all had different things that they did, or they had things that were in common too. So anyway, when I got out of the Army, I had no interest in guns. I mean, I think I've talked about it before. Like, I pretty much got rid of all of them, except for maybe 12. And, you know, those are the ones you have to have kind of thing. And I didn't do nothing with them except drag them around with me every once in a while. I kept them, but I didn't go recreational shooting or any kind of training or anything. So I don't know. For me, it was my own thing. But I don't think you come out necessarily more patriotic or as patriotic, because when you go in, a lot of people go in and they're burn and match, and they come out burnt. They come out done. A lot of people, it's a meat grinder.
Well,
Literally.
Where I was going was that people who went in may not have ever had touched a gun in their life until they got there.
Oh yeah, I'd say a good chunk of them too.
So they, get acclimated to shooting their weapon, and when they come out, they're not the same unknowing person about a gun. So it would strike me that they would be more pro-gun, but that would be with the caveat of not people who've seen actual combat. I don't know where that would go.
Yeah, you don't need to see combat to be aware of it. So you're in the military, you can be disgusted by war and atrocities without, wading through it in their own feet. But yeah, there's everybody's got their own, experience and stuff.
And I may be all wrong in that theory.
There's a lot of people too that join the military for the career, for school, and for education, like on the job type of stuff. And again, let's just pick truck driver. That's an easy one. A lot of guys will go in, they get their truck driving, whatever knowledge, some experience. They get out, they've got maybe a GI Bill, doing whatever they're going to do. And maybe they touched a gun, in basic, and then maybe they were issued one once in a while. But for the most part, if they weren't a combat MOS, so they didn't, do much more than see one once a year, And when they got out, you know, they had about as much experience with their firearm as they did with their, I don't know, an MRE or their tent or something. You know, they're not camping because they were instructed a couple of weeks one time on how to camp. You know what I mean? So some people, if they weren't had the inclination to go shooting in the first place, the Army doesn't foster that. If anything, it's just another chore. You know, like if you weren't into Jeeps or four-wheel drive and you had to be responsible for one with any kind of government role, that's not going to make you want to buy a Jeep necessarily. It might make you never want to drive that vehicle again just because of the horrible memories.
Yeah, I can see that. I wasn't looking at that aspect when I initially formed that opinion.
But I definitely think that more people are going to come out like aware of what freedom means, and I don't think they're going to take it for granted as much. And I think it'll be tougher. Well, I don't know. I was going to say it would be tougher to get somebody to go anti, but damn, we see a lot. Not a lot. We see military guys that are anti or veterans that are anti. So, yeah, there's just a lot of veterans, so there's no way to know what everybody's doing or anything.
Well, I can tell you that my son-in-law that's in the Army is extremely pro-gun, and my son-in-law that was in the Navy is not pro-gun, not anti-gun. He's pretty indifferent to it. I mean, he's not opposed to him by any stretch because he let me buy his kid a gun, both his kids, in fact, at my daughter's request. And, you know, he's talking about getting a handgun for protection in the house, but, you know, he's not the pro-gun dude like the other one, not even close. And then number 3 son-in-law, or he's actually number 2, married to number 2, is way pro-gun too, and he was in the Army. So I don't know. That's kind of where I got that from. You know, looking at what my own family has done.
Oh, I think you're. I mean, I guess I was just playing devil's advocate and saying something to say something, but I would say most people come out of the military are probably pro. There's nothing in. Well, I mean, except for horrible shit, there's nothing in there that's going to make you necessarily be anti. I think you might get sick of them. That's the thing. Like, say, if you're just not into them and all they are is a giant chore to you, that might be not all that appealing.
Well, you know, from where I sit here, there's days when I absolutely don't give a shit about guns. But that's only because they're here, and there's not a conscious desire to acquire more. You know, there's always guns that I would like to have, but there's nothing that I really gotta have, you know what I mean? So I'm not, at least before this fucking show started, I'm not constantly looking at gun stuff. Now, granted, when I started doing the early watch and started taking it seriously, I started doing a lot more research into the gun debate, if you will. And, you know, I do, even to this day, I still look at it. But, you know, as I sit here, there's 6 fucking handguns on my desk. There's 2 Heritage Rough Riders laying on the top. And then there's the 4 single action revolvers on the first shelf here.
Well, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think you need 6 revolvers to hunt a deer.
Not one of these are for hunting deer.
Okay, now I'm appeased.
They're all cowboy action. The
When
deer revolvers are in the cabinet.
Let me go off subject for a second, since at least I haven't heard any update on that. Now that it sounds like you're pretty good to go as far as surgeries and whatnot. When are you going to be able to do your cowboy action stuff again?
Oh shit, I don't know. I think I'm going to try to get over there day after tomorrow to watch. I haven't, probably not going to start on anything until next year now because,
That's what I kind of figured, but that's good to hear you're going to be over there watching.
yeah, I want to go over there and see what's what with it. And if I get a chance to shoot, I might, but I don't know. Once I watched video on this shit and seen how fast these fuckers could be, I lost a bit of the burning desire to do it because Jesus Christ, fucking people can shoot a gun fast. And I ain't never gonna do that. And I get disgusted with the people who spend major money making a fucking race gun to do an event that don't pay a damn dime.
Well, but look at the people that go to car races or that show dogs or bake fucking pies. They're making like 1,000 pies to make that perfect pie. That kind of shit.
I would have did that.
Huh?
I would have fell into that one. I'm a pie baker before I got diabetes.
Oh, snap. So we can have a pie cake debate because I am of the opinion that cake is better than pie.
I don't know. There's not much better than pumpkin pie or lemon meringue pie.
Well, I'm a big fan of my lemon meringue pie. My grandma made sure of that, but I still like cake better.
I have made lemon meringue pie from scratch, even the meringue part of it. But I haven't done it in a long time because it's really time consuming. Pumpkin pie, I'm told that I make the greatest pumpkin pie on planet Earth by my daughters. I'm always asked when we have holidays if I'll make them and bring them over, and I'm like, no, because I want to eat them when I make them.
And say that's like saying I've been told that I'm the world's greatest dad by my daughters.
I've had people offer me money to bake pies.
All right.
I'm like, I enjoy doing it once in a while, but I don't want to make it a job. I did consider baking them and selling them for real, but there's so much shit you got to go through here to do shit like that. I said, fuck it. I'll tell you, to me, the best friggin' pumpkin pies ever were McDonald's fried pumpkin pies back, 25 years ago.
Where they put them in like that burrito looking thing and then they deep fry them?
Deep fried them, yes. God damn it.
Pumpkin pie that way. I don't think I've ever had their pumpkin pie that way.
Oh, yeah, it was fucking fantastic. And their pumpkin filling was real spicy, which is what I like. You could taste the spices in it after you burnt the top 5 layers of hide off your tongue. There's nothing that's as hot as the son of a bitch was until I found Culver's French fries.
Really?
They were good. God damn, they were good. But the baked versions that you get today were shit. Pie channels and I'm out. Well, don't let the door hit you in the fucking ass when you go. People might think that I do this show for you, but fuck that. I do it for me. Talk about what I want. I try to keep it on guns, but sometimes we go to pie or food. Get fucking over it. Everybody's got to eat too. And all I can do these days is talk about pie because I'm fucking diabetic. I can't have it.
You're not a fan of the sugar-free business?
Piss? No. I bought Splenda to make tea with, thinking I would switch up the coffee to tea, and I can't. Yeah. And my stepmom used to make various sugar-free desserts, and they all sucked. And she was a really good cook.
It's a different chemical. I mean, they'd have to basically play with it forever, and then to get comfortable with all of its ways, and then it's still not going to taste like sugar.
She said one time to me that she thought the only way that she was going to get it to be even remotely acceptable was like 2/3 sugar and 1/3 of the artificial sweetener stuff. She said, but she never could get a mix that suited her. But she still made this stuff anyway, so. Let's see. Where the hell do we want to go from here? I have no fucking idea.
Want to do another piece of that guy? What's his name? Nuance Bro.
We can. I did order, go back to Midway and flung down the rest of the 200 plus 20 more bucks that I spend every time I fucking go online to Midway to buy stuff. And I bought me a rimfire bullet trap and
What did you think? Have you seen the petition? I think it's Military Arms Channel suggesting like Midway. I forget how many. Like when you order something at Midway, it'll say, "Do you want to like take your change and give it to the NRA or something, or do you want to round up for the NRA?"
oh, they automatically do it for you unless you select not to.
Okay, so when they do that, I guess they must give you like a running total of how much they've made this year or how much they're getting ready to donate.
Like $15 million or $150 million or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, that's what he did a screenshot of that recently, and I think it was at 13 or something. But he was basically urging people to contact Midway and tell them to quit doing that as a way to put pressure on the NRA, because obviously that's a lot of money that they would be expecting to get. And what does everybody think about that concept of withholding cash, and from a, I guess, a fundraising effort like that, or suggesting to the corporation doing the fundraising effort that, hey, we're not happy with that company, don't do that fundraising effort.
I think that you're only going to get anything accomplished if the customers just opt out, and say they won't donate to the NRA. Because I would imagine that Midway and Brownells and the NRA are in bed together, for lack of a better term. And Brownells or Midway, sorry, Pete, will not stop this for the NRA. They get the look at what we've donated card to play. Even though they're actually taking it from their customers, especially those who don't pay attention to what they're doing when they check out, because it's automatically set for you to round up the change to the nearest dollar.
Right. It's real easy to say like, hey, look what, we accomplished or whatever, when really it's just like almost a function of your volume of sales.
Right. Exactamundo. And I would rather see them, instead of stopping it, just making the first option that it automatically hits on is no thank you.
Well, I like your idea that one way to let the company know we're not satisfied is to just not to opt out of it. And then once they're sitting there and it's embarrassing that they got $15,000 sitting there after a year's worth of effort, that's a pretty big way to tell the NRA, here you go. And honestly, that's the kind of challenge I like, because then you're not bullying a company and saying, we're going to hold our breath if you don't do what we want, which is, 3/4 of the way of being a little kid about it. But instead you can say, hey, let's get everybody on board. This is a goal we want to achieve, and here's how we get to it. And this is one of the steps. And the consequences, Midway doesn't have anything to bring NRA. And the consequences, if Midway isn't paying attention and doesn't do like Brownells did, Brownells intentionally made a big point of pulling that program because of their dissatisfaction with the NRA. Unless Midway does something like that, then they're gonna. If they only brought in $15,000 a year for NRA, that's because their sales went down in some scale as well, right? So they're going to notice it too, that, uh-oh, we're back on the wrong horse here. We're the only one in town backing this horse, and it's not getting any bets. So they're going to look at that and go, what's going on? Let's evaluate this.
Well, I made it a point to not give the NRA a fucking nickel other than my dues, because it's foolish to just think that you're gonna quit the NRA, and the NRA still does a lot for us. If you take the political aspect out of it altogether, the NRA does so much in education that they're worth supporting to some extent. But when they fucked over USCCA like they did, I was done with giving them an extra fucking penny. I, to this day, won't. I
Patrick
will
is saying,
not give them another fucking nickel.
Patrick is saying you can't opt out on Midway.
Yes, you can.
Okay. So look again, Patrick, Tony's saying he's done it.
Yeah. Down to the bottom of that list, there's a tab for no thank you. Believe me, I do hit that son of a bitch every time I buy anything at Midway, because I ain't giving NRA an extra fucking nickel.
You could probably also go so far as just, there's usually like a little comments or notes or something you can put in there, like, I don't like the NRA, or I don't support the NRA, or quit supporting the NRA. Well, I don't know why I brought that up as much as just I think you were talking about the whole Midway thing, and that made me think that I don't remember what year it was, back in the Vegas Convention Center, so it had to be between 2005 and 2009. They had the way that we were at the convention, at the NRA show, at the SHOT Show in Vegas, and they have like speeches and stuff. And I don't go to them anymore because I went to this one and it was boring. But that was one of the years I went to it though. And that guy from Midway, the family, I don't know who the family is from Midway, but there's a family that runs it. And yeah, he was super.
Larry Potterspiel or something.
Yep,
like that.
that's it. Yep, that's exactly it. Him and his wife was up there. And I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. But yeah, the way that he was, yeah, it just seemed like there's something a little bit weird to it. The way that they were congratulating him. And I guess, in a way he is, I don't know, if he would have been the one who invented the concept of it, then I'd be like, yeah, okay, give this guy a lot of credit, but pretty sure he didn't. And it's just, like you said, a whole bunch of individuals. And I don't want to say he got up there and took credit or nothing. It just, the watching the spectacle of the giant check, I mean, both literally and, and the amount of it, it was, I still remember it. So yeah, that was interesting. And I don't know, I guess it's a valid way to raise money for an organization. I do it at my bank with some kind of automated thing where every time I spend something, it'll round up to the next dollar up and then put that in my savings account. So that concept of squirreling away money almost that you don't notice, can accumulate. And obviously it accumulates with their kind of sales to a lot, millions of dollars. It's insane. When you think it's most of the time, it's not rounding up from like $3 to $5. It's rounding from 86 cents to the next dollar, right? Or 75 cents to the next dollar, 26 cents to the next dollar.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's like 99 cents or less every time. So that had to be several million transactions, many million transactions.
Yeah, they probably got $100 out of me and Ponnery. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I have never supported that.
Oh, you mean just the NRA's cut? Yeah.
Yeah. I was just being facetious. Like I said, the deal with the NRA and USCCA really pissed me off. More so than the whole caving on bump stocks that people got so ticked about, which I don't know. The NRA is
What pisses you off more than the caving on bump stocks?
Where they screwed over the USCCA, they went up and hung out with the USCCA and learned how their business model worked, and then started their fucking own and booted USCCA out of their annual meeting.
Oh, I hear you. I don't know. I'm not going to change your mind necessarily. I'm not, my intent isn't to change your mind, but I've known Tim Schmidt since 2004, and I haven't worked with him since 2005. And I know people in the industry who feel the same way. So he's not loved by everyone. And his business plan was a website that you had to pay money for to read articles from him. So back in the day before we had YouTube videos, I don't know how long you've been a member of USCCA, but it used to just be a website that had reviews of stuff. And then it was one of these websites, a membership type of website, I guess like Gun Channels, except that it was closed. The only way to get in was to pay the money. And once you got in, you got a newsletter and you got access to his reviews, which were all his, and they were all about products that you could buy. And nothing was, I mean, the very few of them were like actual, like, here's a way to carry. It was like, here's a way to carry in this brand holster. So it was very odd. And then he was making a lot of money. I made $500 a month for a while there. And the reason I quit dealing with him is because I was making $500 a month. And for me, it was one of my largest clients. And I couldn't get a time of day from the guy. I was insignificant to him at that time at $500 a month. And then months later, instead of growing, I just got kicked off because I wasn't bringing in enough money. So all I'm saying is I'm not on the NRA side. I'm not on his side. I haven't talked to Tim personally since 2004 when we had a thing in those media room at SHOT. And that's when I got to meet him face to face after having interacted with him and just on the internet. And I've had no interest in talking to him since that meeting. It didn't strike me as a person I want to do business with him. And I'm not saying the NRA is so, have such scruples or, business morals or values or something that they're thinking anything like I was thinking. But yeah, it could just be a money thing. But I suspect insurance ain't insurance. CCW insurance ain't insurance. It is different. It is not, what do they call that? It's not having a lawyer on retention either. It's kind of a unique thing, and it's not done by insurance companies so much as just places with bunches of money. And I hear what you're saying, that if they met and then the thing that the USCCA started doing was the insurance to supplement the newsletter. And then the insurance was more interesting than the newsletter, and it became a buy insurance and get a newsletter. It kind of reversed roles there at some point. And
all of these concealed carry, quote unquote, insurances are basically health maintenance accounts, for lack of a better description.
That's a good way to describe some of them. Yeah. I mean, there's that's the thing. They're not like when you go to get health insurance, you go, oh, I want brand A, brand B, brand C. It's like, oh, I want to get CCW insurance. Well, that's a generic term for like what you just said. Some of them are just pools of money that you have access to as a subscriber to it. Some of them are like referrals to attorneys. Some of them you got to bring your own attorney. And then some of them are, like you say, kind of like prepaid. I guess you could say the same thing, like prepaid pool of money that is destined to this, but with their qualifications or something. So it's anyway. So I'm thinking, because it's such a complicated like realm or whatever. And the thing is, the NRAs always suck. Their insurance has always been like weak. I mean, at least it was gun insurance. Don't get me wrong; it was better than some insurance policies won't cover guns at all. But it was never like useful for somebody who had an actual collection of guns. And I was a child, and the NRA was not able to cover my tiny collection of shit.
They can't touch what I got either.
No, and especially when you get to like, oh, we don't cover the optics or the cases or the stacks of ammo you might have or the reloading equipment. Like, we cover the gun, like big whoop. Like, chassis are definitely an important part of our collections and our stuff, but the chassis are not the majority of the money by far.
I am currently shopping to change my riders for my guns to a complete replacement cost. And it looks like it's going to cost me about $30, $34 a year more. So they go from like, I think it's 120 and change, somewhere in there, to like 150 a year. And I just haven't got off my ass and did it. I need to do that. Because I found one that would do it. You know, I had the receipts where I bought the guns. They would cover replacement cost at today's market value. Or if I had them appraised, you know, say I have a gun that went up in value like the 629 probably will. And cover that. And it almost sounds too good to be true. But, you know, for an extra few bucks a year, I wouldn't be too put out by that. Get full replacement, because like these heritages and things like that, they're not fucking worth nothing. I mean, insurance value wise, the minute you walk out of the shop, you take $120 gun at Bud's and cut that in half. So I'd probably get $60 a pop out of these things.
Yeah, but it adds up. You get 10 of those, and that's $600, even at nothing prices, or it's just, you know, well used prices. It can still add up.
I had to make a
But
database.
if you're doing it at replacement value, you also got to look at, like, you know, just because you found a good deal or you bought it at a time and it was plentiful or whatever. If you want to replace that Milsurp gun now, what you paid $100 for, or $30 for, or $300 for, might be $900 or something. Like, you may never get to replace that gun, which is lame. But are you saying you have it to your house insurance? Because I have mine in $10,000 units. I just add it to my house insurance.
Yeah, it's tied to the homeowners.
Rider or something.
Yeah, it's a rider on the homeowners.
And they do them in, like, I have to do them in increments for the computers, and then if I had cars, you know, if I had RVs, it's the same kind of thing, right? If I had jewelry, I guess if I had a bunch of TVs and stuff.
I started because I had a whole bunch of guitars and amps.
Oh yeah, see, that kind of thing too. And water can kill them. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
But I got out of the guitars and started switching it over to guns. And I think Progressive is a little bit anti-gun, but they haven't come out and said they won't insure them. So I don't know if we're going to have to change homeowners insurance to get it or not. That's kind of where the insurance company I'm talking to now wanted the database of all my firearms. Which is not a problem because I save every fucking receipt where I bought them. And I just made up a Google sheet on that I snagged the template for online. Spent a couple of days doing it because I'm not very quick at it.
Like
And
a gun inventory?
Yep, exactly.
Oh yeah, if you still have like a link to wherever you found that or what, or if it's easy to find, tell somebody where to find it, because that'd be interesting to throw on the front page or something. Just probably some people haven't even thought about that.
I probably could email you the document.
That'll work.
Hang on, let me see if I still got it.
Oh, shit, I just rolled a giant cigar here, I think. I'm getting better at rolling, but I have no idea. Like, half the time I roll them and they're like a size of 550 cord, and the other next time they're like the size of a Sharpie.
Why the fuck is it opening the Excel? I don't use Excel, asshole.
All right, well, since you're looking for that, and I'm sitting here trying to roll a cigarette, I'm going to turn this on. Oh, I can click skip ad. We got that same, we already watched the couple, so now we got the crazy guy at the beginning. We got the pro gun guy who gets a little bit flustered, and then we got the fat pro gun guy who comes in and steps in for him, gets a little flustered. Then we got lady on a stump, and then we're not going to listen to that guy. So, you got a preference?
I don't care, man. Whatever you want.
So we'll throw it out there to the group, and I'm not getting it out of roller. I got this stick right here, and I'll get better. I'll figure it out. I've witnessed people who can roll them effortlessly, so I know I can get to that point. I've seen it. But basically, I just roll them all shitty, and then take that stick there and poke the ends in, and then twist it. It looks like a joint, and then I stick it in this filter. And then you tamp it. Lady on stump is what we're getting. So, go to lady on stump. Why is it giving me another ad? So this is again at the NRA convention. This guy is a pretty awesome interviewer.
I'm not here because I'm a citizen who's
Could you hear it okay?
Yes.
concerned about the endless gun violence in America. I'm tired of people getting shot, and it isn't just mass shootings. People are getting shot every single day. 33,000 gun deaths in America last year.
And what are we trying to achieve specifically?
Well, I want to see better enforcement of existing regulations. I'd also like to see an amendment of the Second Amendment to make it clear that gun ownership isn't a willy-nilly kind of a thing, that it was originally intended in a time when there wasn't a standing army, there wasn't a professional army. They needed people to be able to be called up as a militia, and a well-regulated militia at that. And
Well, standing armies existed, but the founders were against standing armies. They wanted the militia to be in order, like a kind of a check on the powers that be.
yeah, I guess that's a better way to say it. I'd also like to see some regulation of certain kinds of, my poster's going on. Regulation of certain kinds of weapons.
Like which ones, for example?
Specifically the AR-15. It's a military-style weapon. It shouldn't be in the hands of civilians. I talked yesterday with some NRA members who told me that they own AR-15s for hunting, and they claim that the bullets are about the size of a .22. If that's the case, why are so many mass shootings using AR-15s, and why are people dying from them?
Well, do you think it's because the media kind of promotes this as like the gun of choice? Like people like Pierce Morgan go on the media and they're like, the AR-15, this is the choice of because we've seen AR-15s more frequently used in recent years, especially as the media keeps mentioning it and making a thing about it over and over. Do you think there's kind of a correlation there between how often they mention it? And, you don't really see it with AK-47s, like rifles that are more dangerous than the AR-15, for example.
Okay. I really don't know about that. I don't watch Pierce Morgan.
Yeah, he's off the air now. If you had to guess, like the AR-15 or just even like AR-15 is a rifle, right? So if rifles in general, what percentage of the gun murders in this country do you feel, or just murders overall, do you feel like are responsible? Like those are responsible?
Those are mostly used, as I understand it, in mass shootings. There's also a question of the easy availability of handguns. We have seen also that. For instance, when we had the Brady Law, which was a ban on assault-style weapons and handguns.
The Brady Law was different. It dealt with more with like background checks and things like that.
Okay. My point is that the easy availability of all types of guns at the moment needs to be researched. And until we get past this terror that people are going to come and take away every gun in America, we're not going to be able to do that. We need to have some reasonable understanding that guns are a source of this public health menace, and that we need to separate out those types of guns that are going to be used for hunting and sporting purposes, and those whose only use is intended as a weapon to kill a human being.
Do you support banning all guns that are intended to kill human beings?
I certainly do. I support having,
Pretty much like all handguns and
with the exception of those that are probably used by law enforcement, but in the hands of civilian populations. Why do you need a handgun?
some people would say home defense.
There are many other ways and better ways to defend your home than picking up a handgun and shooting something.
Sure, like if someone comes into your house with a gun, what would you suggest for?
Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down, Tony? I don't want you to fall over. Here it goes.
For someone to defend themselves with?
I wouldn't suggest defending at all. I'd suggest running away.
Running away from your own home. But what if that's not an option? Like you got multiple people, or it's a home invasion. Like you maybe have children in the house and you can't.
Exactly. You can throw anything at a person who has a handgun and you can distract them. And their shot will either go wild. I happen to be on the security team at our church.
Hey, this lady needs.
Stricter gun controls.
She's fucking proof positive there are to be a test to be an American citizen.
I hope that didn't stress your pump too bad. This guy would stress you even worse. This guy's horrible. So that's Nuance Bro, awesome dude on YouTube. He goes to places and asks good questions, and I'll put the link out there for anybody who wants
I
to check it out.
posted a link to the firearms database on the side chat.
What?
A link to that Google Sheets firearms database I posted on the side chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, right on. Thanks.
The only problem with the thing is there's a few guns that are manufacturers that aren't listed, and I don't know how to get them on there.
I can help you with that. So it's going to send you an email to give me permission, it looks like. But I'll look at that off here. So then, but yeah, I can help you if it's got like a list or something. You need to add stuff to the list. That's no problem. All right.
That should be maybe I have to go and get farther in and get one that's not mine, I should say.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, okay,
So-
sorry.
Jelsma said 33,000 seems high. No, it's not. It's something like 33, 37, depending on the year. I think it's still going down. It might have gone up one time. I think the overall are going down. But
Half of those are suicide.
oh no, more than half, 2/3, something 20-something thousand of them, 21,000 something are suicides, and then something like 7 will be handgun. All homicides with a handgun, and homicides include justifiable and felonies, and then the rest are accidents. I'm sure somebody somebody's standing underneath a pile of guns and it falls on them. That must happen. So there's probably things like that too. Then on the gun channel side, Noah is saying that loves his interviews. You can dissect the strategies and execution. Yeah, I agree. One that we're doing kind of here too. So, I mean, you could see that lady kind of flabbergasted him there at the end. You could tell he was just like, "What?" But that's the thing. When we get to look at these, just like in the sports, right? When they win or lose at sports, they go back and watch what they did and learn from it and think about what they could have done, or what could have been said, or what could we have to prepare for that. We've been talking about making up some wallet-sized cards. I'm efforting towards that at the moment, and we'll come up with some uses for those. So ideally, you have something to use as notes, perhaps something that you can say hand off to the person that you're having a conversation with some links to footnotes or whatever, like stuff to back up whatever it was you happen to be talking about. So if you're talking about, whatever it is, we'll have some topic relevant things to carry. And then that way, when you go into an event where you think you might meet somebody, or you can maybe keep them in the car someplace, and you have a discussion, you say, hey, let me go run to my car real quick, and then you can leave them with something.
Shit.
All right. Tony fell over. So, wow, it's at 9 o'clock already. I forgot what time we started this thing, but we've been going for a bit. I think it's probably a good time to head over to the gun channels and see what's been going on the main page over there. You all right, Tony? Where he went. So let's see, we got H.A. Goodman starting a channel called H.A. Second Amendment. I don't know what that is. Bill of Rights and Second Amendment. All right. Got a couple of memes, it looks like. Knives had a chat last. Oh, wait. No, Knives already has a chat going, so that's good to hear. Snowy had been out fishing, it looked like, judging from his Instagram. Looks like he'll be doing his chats again. Something to listen to. It was a chat with Knives. It was pretty awesome. It went pretty epic. We ended up staying up pretty late off air as well. Had the Daily Gun Show last night. A couple of people jumped in to guest host. That went well. Gunner had his chat. No, wait, didn't. What is this? This is, he's got a store set up for his 3D stuff now, it looks like. So, got some more stuff from Liberty Cat. Posted a few videos. I didn't watch those.
Damn, I guess I overtaxed my internet.
Oh, okay. I heard you go, oh, and I'm like, oh shit, did he just like keel over? I shouldn't have showed him Lady on a Stump. I knew I shouldn't have showed him. So, Clover had a chat last night. What was it? Parents that do not own firearms. It was a pretty interesting chat. That one went 2 hours, if I remember right. Knives had a chat in the evening, and Rick had his chat. I did not see that one, but this was a pretty funny video. We all know Rick from Rick's Life as I See It, and his logo is that can of spotted dick. Just some kind of gross stuff they eat in England, I guess. You ever ate spotted dick?
No.
I don't even know really what it is other than there's raisins in it, and I guess that's why they call it spotted. So who was it over here posted, Relativity posted this link to this video. These two old ladies, and somebody's opening up like a care package to them. And then at some point, he's like,
You want to try it? Get in there. London, Grandma. See the Queen? Across the ocean? Yep.
Oh my
Isn't that
goodness.
cute?
I keep that.
Yeah, we'll keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should try the spotted dick. What do you think? Get in there?
and it's just funny because the old ladies are like saying spotted dick and they're all laughing about it. So it looks gross, and it looks like you eat it out of a bowl. And I thought it was bread, so that makes it even more gross. So I don't know what it is, but it looks like it's in a can or else in a jar.
Bread pudding with raisins.
Oh, thank you. So I thought that video was pretty good. We got here. I did not see this one, so we'll open that up. Ghost posted a video about the different CCW topics. I watched that one. It's 10 minutes, I think. Yeah. And he goes through, basically compares the monthly and yearly costs versus options. I think 5 of the different major ones, or 5 of the main ones, really. Knives, right after our show yesterday, had a chat, and then that was us yesterday. So that was the day in gun channels. Anybody that posts up over there, we appreciate it. If you're posting stuff for your local or state level nonprofits, remember you're posting on a website that gets, even on their downtimes, 1 million hits a month. So that's a resource. It's something that you can do to help out those organizations. Feel free to use our calendar. That's what it's for. Post things on your own channel. If you want to create a channel for them, create a channel on Every Second Matters if it's a gun owners' rights group. But if it's something like a local gun show or some kind of a shooting event or something that's going to be in the area, it's all about, that's what Gun Channels is for, is to create a platform to enhance all those projects. So they don't have to be your projects. If they're gun related and you want to share them, sure, share them with the human beings. 30,000 human being eyeballs will see it in a day. But think of all the robot eyeballs, and you're creating an established link for that event. And now that's an established link for that website. So that shooting range, that gun show promoter, that gun shop, whatever it is, that manufacturer that you might be linking to, you're establishing a link on a relevant website. And every day the people on Gun Channels are making it more relevant. So it's a tool that we all have access to, and I encourage you all to use. So we just went through, Tony, while you were off there looking at some of the stuff since yesterday. And there was a couple of things. Dead Horse posted this one and wanted us to check it out. I think, did you say you got it? You just kind of skimmed it before the show?
Yeah, but I got it from the NRA instead of Western.
Oh, not from Dead Horse. So I'm going to say we'll stew on this one overnight, because this one sounds interesting. When he was telling me about it last night, I thought it was a reference to the one from Obama's administration, but it sounds like the FBI just recently released a pro Second Amendment statement. Basically, that's how the Western Journal summarizes it, but states the importance of armed citizens in America. And it goes into a study to find out how effective armed individual is, and I guess in relation to the mass murders that are done with firearms. So, they're not looking at mass murders done with arson that armed individuals or individuals might have stopped or prevented, but just the firearms related one, since that's the one that we all have to pay attention to right now. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this and we'll talk about it tomorrow, but we'll put a link out here. So anybody that wants to, well, just go to Gun Channels. That's where we got the link. But we'll throw it out into the YouTube as well. This is probably important. Hello? 99% of the time, that's a robot. So that's a robot that was shy. It was a shy robot this morning. So there's a link to that, and I don't know if it'll break the link or not, but there you go. And then this one was also in there. I don't know if you saw this one from earlier in the day yesterday. Looks like it's from February of this year.
I did not.
We'll zoom the text out a little bit if that helps. Since around 2008, the firearms industry has taken a dramatic turn. It hasn't exploded like some predicted after the elections. It hasn't come to a screeching halt like legislators dreamed. It has become retarded in the last several years. Yes, I use the word retarded specifically for its dual meaning. It slid backwards and also become less able to think clearly or with purpose. I said it, most industry promoters are idiots and they are passing on useless garbage to the masses, and here's why. Wow, so this is somebody who just signed it, special guest. And I don't know if that means anything. That's like a funny name for an individual who's well known. Or not, so I guess not. So we like to think of ourselves as being educated, some having nice paper diplomas up on walls showing we can survive a few years of college. And in the widespread availability of the internet, every electronic device possible, we can't go wrong, right? All right, so what's this all about? How is the industry? I'm going to read this one because this is, that's weird. They got a big script error there. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one and we'll talk about that one tomorrow too. Unless you guys want to keep going. I don't know, Tony. We've been going for a while, I guess. We started early, didn't we? It's already 9:30.
Yes. Yeah, no, we can wrap it up. I need to go lay down pretty soon.
Right on. So I'm probably going to do the same. I pulled an all-nighter. I've been working on the project over here, and you can see it's getting some progress. I got everything colored in, and then I went out and found a couple more. Got the two guys that co-founded the NRA and then the general, who was the first president, and some others that I've added to the list here as I keep digging. So I appreciate the people over on Patreon that are supporting this project and all of our others. And thanks, Tony, for letting me kind of jump in here and help out while Jimmy's getting his stuff back and his internet back and whatnot. And we will continue to work on the Early Watch Nation project as well. And stay tuned for some other projects. I'm working like 3 or 4 projects with people at the moment. So all kinds of neat stuff happening. Knives already has a show up, or a lobby up. Anybody that wants to jump over to Gun Channels and keep listening about guns. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow.
Have a good day, people, and thank you, G-Webs.
You bet.